Welcome to the Now. I'm Ashley.
I'm John.
Pokemon Go Fest's disastrous event is almost a week behind us. We're to the point now where we can start to rebuild our lives. But hey, boy, was that catastrophe super effective, because today's story is getting even better.
Yeah, attendees are apparently getting together to sue Niantic with a class action lawsuit, which is kind of a big deal, demanding restitution from the company over last weekend's shit show.
They already gave you Pokecoins, guys. That heals all wounds, right? Plus, we've got some new numbers out of Pokemon Go that show Pokemon Go Fest might not have been that big of a deal to the game's players overall, because the app is making record money again.
Yeah, but first, back to the lawsuit, which is being brought by an attorney based out of Chicago, Thomas Zimmerman. And no, Zimmerman isn't representing just one grumpy Pokemon Go fan with too much time on their hands. He's representing 20 to 30 attendees total in a class action lawsuit against Niantic.
Now, if you don't know, a class action lawsuit is a lawsuit where the plaintiff represents an entire group of people. In this case, claiming to represent all 20,000 attendees of Pokemon Go Fest. Because of that, class action suits tend to have much bigger legal implications and are a lot more expensive for the company involved.
Yeah, they're not suing Niantic for more legendaries or trying to get rich.
Well, then really, are they even Pokemon Go fans?
I mean, they could get legendaries with what they're really suing for, I think.
That's true.
It's just tack that on to the final documents. I have fought 2 Lugias and 1 Articuno, and I've got jack squat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, John.
Okay, so they simply want reimbursement for their travel expenses and lodging accrued in order to get to Chicago for the Pokemon Go
That
Fest.
doesn't seem too unreasonable.
Yeah, the lawsuit was just filed this week, complaining that the game was unplayable at the event.
The unspecified damages, according to the court documents, should be determined by a jury, in which case Niantic would have to pay back everyone, all 20,000 people, a set amount of travel expenses.
Yeah, if you're unaware of exactly what went down at Pokemon Go Fest, well, their complaints definitely have some merit, because the whole thing was the worst.
The first annual Pokemon Go Festival was held last weekend at Grand Park in Chicago. In total, about 20,000 people snapped up $20 wristbands, or ended up paying 10 times that from a scalper, within minutes of them going on sale. And since we're talking about Pokemon Go, the main promise of the event was the chance to catch extremely rare types of Pokemon which are otherwise not available. This was the first opportunity to catch some of these crazy legendaries.
After waiting hours for the event to get underway, fans were treated to a whole lot of jack squat.
Yeah, nothing.
Cellular networks were down. There were bugs on Niantic's side that made the game unplayable, and it generally led to lots of fans revolting and even booing Niantic CEO John Hank when he hit the stage for some announcements.
Eventually, Niantic agreed to refund the cost of the festival to the attendees. So that's the $20 wristbands, promised them $100 worth of Pokecoins each, and allowed for an extension of the time that rare Pokemon could be caught in the city once the event was done, since, you know, no one could catch them in the actual festival.
But that didn't stop people from being understandably pissed. Following the fest, Niantic said on its site, "From everyone at Niantic, we apologize to all the trainers who came out to Pokemon Go Fest today. Although we were able to solve many of the technical issues, we were not able to offer every attendee a great experience."
For CEO John Hank's part, he blamed it on the overloaded mobile networks. However, he said they would use this experience to evaluate what they need to do in the future for Pokemon Go events. Writing, "Last Saturday was not a happy day for us, but we are committed to listening to that feedback, however harsh, to improve what we do so that we can continue to build experiences that bring together people, technology, and the real world in innovative ways."
You know, that's assuming if Niantic decides to continue on with those events after what happened in Chicago this weekend. And hey, now they're being sued to boot, so who knows what that's gonna do.
Right, they did have plans to do one in Europe, and I think one in Asia as well, but we'll see if they dare do that now. So judging by all the admissions of guilt from both Niantic and Hank, it seems like actually class action suit does have a pretty solid leg to stand on. That's one of the risks you get if you admit fault and stuff, which is why it's done so rarely. The appointed lawyer for the case, Thomas Zimmerman, told Polygon, "We're not seeking any relief with aspect to the failure to get legendary Pokemon because Niantic is offering that, but Niantic is not offering to refund people's travel expenses for coming to Chicago. Most of the people came from out of state, many people from other countries. I talked to someone who flew in from Japan."
They shouldn't have flown in from Japan. That was their first mistake. It's just not worth it that far. It's just legendaries, dude. Well, Zimmerman went on to say, the issue is what was promised, what was the incentive that people relied on, and the representations that people relied on to buy a ticket and make travel plans and fly to Chicago to participate in this festival. Would they have done that had they known that that was not going to be lived up to and they weren't going to get the experience that was represented?
So what does Niantic think of this whole hullabaloo though? Well, they actually sent a very thoughtful response over to Polygon saying Niantic does not comment on pending legal matters. Thoughtful.
Cool. Sadly for Niantic, this isn't the first dust-up Pokemon Go has had with litigation.
Not even close.
Yeah, back in September, 72 Pokemon Go players filed complaints with the US government, sending gripes to the Federal Trade Commission, the agency in place to advocate for consumers.
Of these 72 complaints, 16 of them were directed at Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, while the remaining were aimed at Niantic themselves. The complaints, they covered a huge range of issues from players grumpier than snowballs, including the game's microtransactions, privacy concerns, server issues, criticisms that the game isn't safe for children. You name it, it's been blamed on Pokemon Go.
I feel like a better joke there would have been grumpier than glooms. It's literally in the name.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
But of course, none of these problems with angry players appear to be slowing Pokemon Go from making ridiculous amounts of money. Judging by a recently released report from mobile analyst firm Sensor Tower, the app generated $5.8 million in revenue this past Sunday.
In one day.
Yeah, making it the biggest day the app has had outside of its launch window.
So, yeah, frankly, disastrous festivals or not, it looks like people really want to catch those legendaries, which means that despite all these difficulties, Niantic will probably try their hands at another big Pokemon Go festival just the way they have planned.
Hopefully, for attendees, those events go a little bit better. Or a lot better than the first one?
Yeah, well, I mean, now you know that no matter what the phone companies say, you need the extra trucks.
Yep.
What do you guys think of Pokemon Go Fest attendees actually suing Niantic over this whole thing? Let us know in the comments.
And for all the future news about the Pokemon shenanigans, remember to like this video and subscribe to The Know.
Hey, Fabro, what's that place you like to go with all the stuff on the walls?
I don't know.
You mean shenanigans?
By the way, grumpier than a grump pig would have been the easiest.
That's a good one too. He's
burper.
Judging by a recently released report.
Report.
Yeah.